y'all, we're just going to dive right in. So you want to open up a canvas size of 3000 by 3000. You're going to pick any brush. I usually choose the round brush. You're going to create a circle. If you hold down your finger there, it'll lock in a perfect circle. Fill it in. Here I'm just adjusting it to the center of the page. And then what you're going to do is you're going to create a layer above it and choose clipping mask. And then you're going to color in really whatever pattern you want. Like the world is your oyster with this part here, and this is where it can get really fun. But I'm just going to do a basic neon rainbow brush here. So I'm going to choose my neon colors, just fill them in. Also, if you drag and drop and your little shape is closed, it'll fill in the rest for you. So just going to do that here. Then once I have all my colors that I want inside the circle, I'm just going to go up, click on the wrench here, and I'm going to choose liquify. And this is going to do some really fun stuff. So here I'm going to choose liquify. Make sure your settings are all the same. I do a left twirl, and then I'm going to choose pinch. I'm just going to bring it in just a little. And you'll see on the outsides there's now color that needs to be recolored in. So just going to tap and refill in those little black spots there and make sure everything's in color. Then once that's all finished, you have whatever pattern you like, and yours can look totally different, doesn't have to look the same. You can do anything in the liquify, it'll all be super cool. You're gonna get rid of that background there, so it's a blank PNG. You're gonna save as PNG right to your iPad. Next, we're going to open up Adobe Fresco, which I downloaded the free version. I'm sure there's versions you can pay for, but you don't need it for this. You're going to choose the little picture there, and you're going to input the latest PNG, which you just saved. Click on brushes, which is that top left. I just chose the first brush there. Then you're going to choose the color picker, and you're going to shrink that in so that the color picker sees all of those colors. And then you're going to click on the brush wheel and you're going to add that brush in. Now I'm just going to hide that layer and I'm going to add a new layer. Now these buttons here on the bottom left, these are all your brush settings. So you can change the direction of your colors. You can change the smoothness. So you can have maybe like a soft edge brush, or you can have a hard edge brush. There's also smoothing, which I really like, which is just like in Procreate when you want to write with calligraphy and you want your letters to be smooth. You're going to want that all the way up. And you can change the direction of really everything, but we're just going to add everything, put everything up as far as it'll go, including the smoothness, hardness. And we're just going to start writing. You can do individual layers, or you can do the same layer. It depends on what I'm writing, but for this I just did individual layers for each letter, and now we're going to export it. So make sure you export it as a PSD, and then you're going to upload it right to your Procreate. Once you do that, it's going to bring you right back to that initial rainbow circle that you drew in your Procreate. But if you go back to your gallery, it's going to be right there, the first thing there. And it's going to show you all of those layers separately, which is awesome. Because now I'm just going to go in and I'm going to start doing shading and highlights to make it really pop and look 3D. So what I'm doing here is I added clipping mask layers above each letter, and I'm choosing a soft airbrush and a darker gray color, and I'm gonna choose that top layer over the H, and I'm gonna just shade in here where I think maybe if it was really in 3D the layers would kind of like make a shadow. Here I'm drawing on the eye and then I realize. So then I take the smudge tool, which is that second tool up there on the right, and I'm just going to smudge those little dark spots out a little bit. I want it to look as realistic as possible, so this smudge tool is like going to be your best friend. After I smudge, I usually go back in and I take the eraser tool and I just erase on those front light facing parts of that 3D rope that you've created, just to make sure you know, that your light and your dark are all in the right spots there. So once I do this with both letters, I usually like to mess around with like multiply and the opacity, and it's really up to you. You could even try Gaussian blurring things. I like to use Gaussian blur a lot too. But with these, I did so much smudging that I don't even think I need to blur it. So I'm gonna choose on these layers, we're gonna multiply them. So you're gonna click on that layer and you're gonna swipe all the way up to that top of that list there, and that's multiply. And I'm gonna do that with both of those layers. And then I'm probably going, you could even change the color of the shadow if you wanted, but I'm gonna leave it as is. So I like the way it's all looking. So now I'm just going to combine all these layers so that I just have one, and I'm going to center it a little bit better because it's kind of like lopsided here. So I made it a little smaller, and now I'm going to multiply that layer and change the bottom layer to a darker color, probably that same gray that I used for the shadows. I'm going to Gaussian blur that a little bit, and then I'm going to distort and I'm going to pull it straight down, and I'm going to create this like shadow effect. So with that one, I'm going to bring the opacity way down, and it's going to create this awesome bottom shadow. Really creates that 3D look. After that, we're just going to add some highlights, which is actually my favorite part. I usually just choose, I actually use like a makeup brush. It's like a fat brush, and it's a very smooth line brush. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to Gaussian blur them. You can mess around with the bloom tool with these, which is I think what I'm going to do here on these. But yeah, have fun with it. And that is pretty much it. You have created rainbow 3D bubble letters. I hope you guys had fun following along. I certainly had fun making it. And if you found this tutorial helpful, it would be awesome if you could hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and happy creating!